Welcome to the Deep Dive. Ever wondered about the weirdest country in Europe? That's how one of our sources playfully puts it for Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, it's a fascinating place, isn't it? Really underrated, where you genuinely feel that East meets West vibe.
Absolutely. And we've been digging into a couple of really good sources for this. A detailed YouTube travel guide and a more concise text guide. And our mission today, well, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Just to pull out the essential, maybe some intriguing bits about Bosnia and Herzegovina for you, our listener.
Right, whether you're actually thinking of going or maybe you're just curious about this part of the Balkans.
Exactly. So, okay, let's jump in. That shady name thing our video source mentioned,
Yeah.
that hints at something pretty fundamental, right? About the country's setup.
It really does, yeah. The name itself, Bosnia and Herzegovina, it points directly to the country's complex federal structure. That's key to understanding it.
Okay, so it's not just one single thing. Can you sort of unpack the main parts for us? It's a bit more complicated than just those two names, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You've basically got two main entities. There's the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's where you find mostly Bosniaks and Croats.
Okay.
And then there's Republika Srpska, which is predominantly Serbians.
Right.
And adding another layer, there's the Braco district. It's kind of this self-governing unit that sits under both entities.
Wow, okay. That is quite a setup. And capitals. Sarajevo is the main one for the Federation, and sort of the overall capital, too.
Yeah, Sarajevo is generally seen as the main, de facto capital for the whole country. But Republika Srpska, it has its own significant center.
Which is?
That would be Banja Luka. It functions as the administrative hub for Republika Srpska. It really reflects the country's intricate past.
Okay. So, geographically then, where does this all sit? Can you paint a picture of its location?
Sure. We're talking southeastern Europe,
Yeah.
right in the heart of the Balkan Peninsula.
And the neighbors?
Neighbors are Croatia, bordering it to the north and west, then Serbia to the east, and Montenegro down south.
Gotcha. And I remember something about a coastline. Tiny, though. Not really a beach destination.
Exactly. There is a very, very short bit of coast near a town called Nemenem. You can find beaches there, but yeah, it's not really where you'd go for a big seaside holiday.
Right.
The country, overwhelmingly mountainous, and that really shapes how you travel around, which we'll definitely get into.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, sticking with the fundamentals. Language. 3 official ones. Bosnian, Serbian, Croatian. Sounds like a potential headache. What's the reality?
Well, the interesting thing is this history here. Back in Yugoslavia, they were all basically seen as one language, Serbo-Croatian.
Ah.
So even though they're distinct official languages now, the truth is they're still incredibly similar, like really mutually intelligible.
So knowing one helps a lot with the others.
Massively, yeah. You often see signs written in all 3, sometimes using both Latin and Cyrillic scripts. It really highlights how close they are.
That's fascinating. So what about English? How far will that get you?
Our sources suggest you'll be fine in the main tourist spots, Sarajevo, Mostar, places like that.
Okay.
But once you get out into more rural areas, it's less common. So, if you happen to know any Slavic language at all, that would be a big help.
Good tip. All right, let's talk money. Currency is the convertible mark. Bam. Anything surprising about that?
Yeah, the interesting bit is that it's pegged to the euro, fixed exchange rate.
Really? That's quite stable for the region.
It is, yeah, quite noteworthy.
So paying for things, cards everywhere, or is it more of a cash situation?
Definitely lean towards cash. That's the strong advice, especially outside the big cities.
Okay.
Even some popular places like the Kravis waterfalls we'll talk about later, they might only take cash.
Good to know.
And one source mentioned sometimes foreign credit cards can be a bit finicky at ATMs. Might take a couple of tries. So just be prepared for that.
All right, have a backup. Okay, connectivity, getting online, making calls. What's the deal there?
Both sources pretty much say, get a local SIM card when you arrive.
Makes sense. Easy to find.
Usually, yeah. Airports are a good place to pick one up. One provider that got a mention was Mnatel. It's based in Republika Srpska, but apparently has a pretty decent coverage overall.
Oh.
And just quick practical things. European-style plugs, and they drive on the right. Standard stuff.
Always good reminders. Okay, let's get into actually moving around the country. Sounds like there are options, but each has its quirks. Air travel first.
Sure. The main international airports are Sarajevo and Tuzla. Banja Luka has a smaller one, often used by low-cost airlines like Ryanair.
Right.
And you might get seasonal charter flights into Mostar sometimes, so flying in is definitely doable.
And then driving. Renting a car sounds tempting for the scenery, but I remember the guides mentioning some challenges.
Yeah, definitely. The mountains dominate, right? So travel times can be way longer than you'd guess from the map distance.
Uh-huh.
You might hit steep passes with zero phone signal, which is something to be aware of. And some roads, especially away from main routes, could be narrow, maybe even unpaved. So planning is key. Maybe have offline maps.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And we absolutely have to mention the landmine issue. That's a serious safety point from the sources.
It is a very serious point. While a lot of demining has happened since the war in the 90s, there are still dangerous areas, mostly off the beaten track.
So the advice is,
Stick strictly to paved roads and well-used paths. Always, always pay attention to warning signs. Don't wander off. It's a stark reminder of the recent past, and you just have to be responsible.
absolutely crucial. Okay, so maybe driving needs caution. What about public transport? Buses seem to come up a lot.
Yeah, buses are generally seen as the most reliable and often the quickest way to get between places if you don't have a car.
Right.
There are websites where you can check timetables, but even with buses, journeys between places that look close on the map can take a surprisingly long time.
Because of the mountains again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of winding roads. For example, getting from Banja Luka down to Mostar by bus. Probably not something you can easily do in just one day because of the routing and transfers.
Wow, okay. Really need to factor that in. And trains, are they a practical option?
Well, train travel exists, but our sources described it as often slow, maybe not always reliable schedule-wise, and perhaps not the most comfortable.
So more for the experience than efficiency.
Probably, yeah. More for the scenic journey itself if you have the time and patience.
Okay. And the ferry thing via Naum, is that really a useful way in or around for most people?
Not really, no. Given where Nainam is sort of cut off from the rest of the country's main tourist trail, using a ferry isn't practical for most visitors exploring Bosnia and Herzegovina itself.
Makes sense. And quick note, road and bus links from neighboring countries are apparently good, and you can even walk across some borders. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff, the places to see. Both sources raved about several spots. Sarajevo first.
Oh, Sarajevo. It's just got such a unique atmosphere. It really earns that nickname, Jerusalem of Europe.
Because of all the different religions side by side.
Exactly. Mosques, synagogues, Orthodox and Catholic churches, often really close together. It speaks volumes about its history. You absolutely have to wander through the Basharija, the old Ottoman bazaar.
Get some Bosnian coffee.
Definitely. That's a must. And then you have places like the Latin Bridge, where
Yeah.
World War I essentially kicked off.
Wow, heavy history.
Very. And the Tunnel of Hope Museum, incredibly moving. It really gives you insight into the siege during the 90s war. Sarajevo's got layers.
Sounds like a city you could spend a lot of time in. Okay, next up, Mostar. Famous for that bridge.
The Starry Most, the old bridge, it's stunning, just absolutely iconic, especially seeing it rebuilt after the war.
And the divers, right? People jumping off it.
Yeah, it's a local tradition, quite something to watch them plunge into the Neretva River below. The town itself is beautiful, too, cobbled streets, traditional shops, that mix of history.
Still shows signs of the war, though.
It does, yeah. You see the scars alongside the beauty. It's part of its story. And definitely take a side trip to Blagaj if you're there. Yeah, it's nearby. There's this amazing dervish monastery, Takija, right at the base of a cliff where the Buna River springs out. It's incredibly peaceful and picturesque.
Oh, that sounds lovely. And then Jashe, the town with a waterfall in it, that sounds wild.
It really is. Josh is captivating. That Pliva waterfall just tumbling down right in the middle of town. It's quite a sight.
Amazing. What else is there?
There's a great medieval fortress overlooking everything, really cool catacombs to explore underneath, and the Pliva lakes are just nearby, perfect for a bit of boating or swimming.
So history, nature, unique sights. Bosnia seems to have it all. And speaking of nature, it sounds like an outdoor lover's dream.
Oh, absolutely. If you love the outdoors, this place is paradise. The Dinaric Alps run right through, offering incredible hiking, climbing.
Skiing too.
Yep, skiing as well. Places like Jaharina, Jelešnica, Prenj are popular mountain destinations. And the rivers, Una, Neretva, fantastic for rafting, kayaking. Plus, just vast forests, loads of waterfalls everywhere. Kravis waterfalls are probably the most famous for swimming and just enjoying the scenery in summer.
Sounds incredible. You can easily spend weeks at exploring the outdoors. Okay, let's shift to culture and, very importantly, food. What gives Bosnian culture its unique flavor?
Well, it's this really rich blend, isn't it? You've got centuries of Ottoman influence, then Austro-Hungarian, Then the Yugoslav era, it all comes together in a really distinct way.
And the people.
Hospitality is a big thing that comes through really strongly in both sources. People are generally described as incredibly warm, welcoming, generous.
That's lovely to hear. And the food. Okay, avapi and burek have to be mentioned first, right?
Oh yeah, classics. Avapi, those grilled minced meat sausages, usually served in soman bread with onions. So simple, so good. And burek, that flaky pastry filled with meat or maybe cheese, that srnica or spinach, zeljanica.
Or potatoes.
Or potatoes, kombucha. Yeah, it's fantastic any time of day. And don't forget bagova chorba. That's a really nice chicken and okra soup. Very traditional.
Sounds hearty.
It is. And then there's the coffee experience.
Right, the traditional Bosnian coffee.
Yeah, served strong, unfiltered, usually in those little copper pots called jizva, with sugar cubes and often a piece of Turkish delight. It's a whole ritual.
Definitely something to try. What about other drinks? Beer? Spirits?
You'll find local beers, often Serbian brands in Republika Srpska, Croatian brands in the Federation part. But there are good Bosnian ones too, like Sarajevsko or Nektar.
Okay.
Tap water's generally safe, which is good. And Rakija, the fruit brandy that's ubiquitous across the Balkans, you'll probably be offered some.
Part of the hospitality.
Exactly. One interesting point the sources made. In some parts of Sarajevo, especially with a larger Muslim population, restaurants might not serve alcohol. And even where they do, beer might be more often bottled than on tap.
Good to know. Any mention of wine?
Bosnia does make wine, yeah. Though one source mentioned a somewhat disappointing experience in one region, so maybe manage expectations or seek recommendations.
It's noted. Adventure wine tasting. Okay, great stuff. Let's maybe do a quick recap. Essential tips for anyone thinking, okay, I want to go.
Sure. Quick rundown. Currency is the convertible mark, BAM, pegged to the euro. Languages are Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, but English works in tourist spots.
Best time to go.
Probably May to October for good weather, or December to March if you want to ski.
Getting around?
Buses are your best bet generally. Trains are scenic but slow. And definitely carry cash, especially outside the main cities.
Fantastic summary. Wow. Bosnia and Herzegovina sounds like it offers a really enriching, maybe quite moving travel experience.
I think so. It's a place where you really feel the weight of history, both ancient and very recent, alongside just breathtaking natural beauty. And the stories of the people, the resilience, it seems to leave a real impression.
Yeah. So thinking about everything, that complex political setup, the deep cultural roots, the recent past, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How will Bosnia and Herzegovina's unique identity keep evolving there in the heart of Europe?
And what other hidden gems, what untold stories might be waiting for someone curious enough to look beyond the main sites?
Definitely something to think about. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.